total mass confusion. And it hasn't changed an awful lot. Everybody gathering for a guitar pull in the room and singing what they had written.
3 months have passed since the heartbreaking death of country legend Jeannie Seely, yet the shockwaves of her passing continue to echo through Nashville and beyond. Known as the Grand Lady of the Grand Ole Opry, Seely wasn't just a voice that defined a generation. She was a symbol of resilience, grace, and the enduring power of classic country music. Now, as her family finally breaks their silence, they're revealing the truth about Jeannie's final months, her struggles behind the spotlight, and the emotional legacy she left behind. For decades, Jeannie Seely stood proudly on the Opry stage, her golden voice carrying the heartache and beauty of country storytelling to millions. Fans remember her timeless hits like "Don't Touch Me," but few knew the private battles she fought when the curtain closed each night. Her family's words paint a touching picture of a woman who gave her all to music and who, even in her final days, found comfort in the songs and the people she loved most. Those closest to Jeannie describe her final weeks as a bittersweet blend of reflection, laughter, and deep gratitude. They say she was surrounded by family, listening to old records, sharing stories from her early years in Pennsylvania to her glory days at the Opry. Her passing left an unfillable void, not just in their hearts, but in the heart of country music itself. Now, for the first time, her family is opening up about her final words, her hopes for the future of country music, and the legacy she wanted to leave behind. What they reveal is both heartbreaking and inspiring. A final tribute to a woman who never stopped believing in the power of music to heal, connect, and endure. 3 months later, Jeannie Seely's spirit still sings louder than ever. The Bay. World of country music fell silent 3 months ago when news broke that the legendary Jeannie Seely had passed away. For decades, she had been a guiding light of the Grand Ole Opry, her voice echoing through its historic halls with a mix of strength, sorrow, and soul. To millions of fans, Jeannie wasn't just another performer. She was the living embodiment of old Nashville charm, a woman who brought poetry to every lyric she sang. Born in Titusville, Pennsylvania, Jeannie's journey to stardom wasn't easy. Her early years were marked by struggle, but her spirit was unbreakable. She moved to Nashville in the mid-1960s, armed with little more than a dream and an unwavering belief in her talent. That dream came true with her breakthrough hit, "Don't Touch Me," a song that not only topped charts, but also won her a Grammy Award, something few female artists achieved at the time. Behind the bright lights, though, Seely was deeply human. Those close to her say she was fiercely independent, but always compassionate. Even as she grew older, Jeannie never lost that spark that made her unique, a mix of humor, class, and quiet strength. Yet in her final months, friends noticed a subtle change. She grew more reflective, more appreciative of small moments, sunsets over her Tennessee home, the laughter of family dinners, and the comfort of old friends who had been with her through the highs and lows. Her health had been declining quietly, something she never wanted to make public. Jeannie believed that life, even in its hardest moments, should be lived with dignity and joy. She continued making appearances at the Opry as long as she could, often saying, "The show must go on." Those who saw her last performance remember it vividly, her voice softer, yet more emotional than ever. It was as if she knew it was her final curtain call. When she passed, the music world mourned deeply. Tributes poured in from every corner of country music, from new artists she mentored to legends who once shared the stage with her. But in the quiet of their home, her family was dealing with a loss that fame could never soothe. Only now, months later, do they feel ready to share what those final days were truly like, and the love, grace, and gratitude that defined Jeannie Seely's last goodbye. 3 months after Jeannie Seely's passing, her family has finally found the strength to speak publicly, and what they've shared brings both tears and comfort to the hearts of fans everywhere. Sitting together in Jeannie's beloved Nashville home, her husband, close relatives, and longtime friends gathered to remember her not just as a star, but as a woman of extraordinary warmth and resilience. Her husband described the final weeks as peaceful, but filled with deep emotion. Jeannie knew her time was coming, and instead of fearing it, she faced it with quiet courage. She wasn't afraid, he said softly. Jeannie believed that every ending is just another song waiting to be written. Even in her final days, she was surrounded by the things she loved most, her music, her dog, and her family's laughter echoing through the house. According to her niece, Jeannie spent much of her last month reflecting on her career and the people who shaped her life. She often spoke about the Opry, how it had been her second home, and how grateful she was to have shared the stage with so many legends. She'd tell stories about performing with icons like Willie Nelson, Connie Smith, and Dottie West, her eyes lighting up with that familiar sparkle. "The Opry gave me more than a career," she once said. "It gave me a family." Her family also revealed that Jeannie left behind a handwritten note, something she'd written weeks before she passed. It wasn't a formal letter, but more of a message of love and gratitude. In it, she thanked her fans for believing in her music and her family for standing beside her even when the spotlight faded. One line stood out the most. "If my songs made you feel less alone, then I've done my job." Those words have since become a source of comfort for everyone who loved her. Her sister described reading that note after her passing as a moment of both heartbreak and peace. She said, "Jeannie didn't want sadness. She wanted her life to be celebrated through music, the way she lived it." Her family also opened up about Jeannie's final night. They said she listened to her old recordings, songs that had shaped her career and defined her legacy. One of her favorites, "Don't Touch Me," played softly in the background as she closed her eyes, smiling gently. It was as if she knew her journey was complete. Since her passing, the family has received thousands of letters and messages from fans across the world, from people who said Jeannie's music helped them through grief, heartbreak, and loneliness. Her husband said, "She would have loved to see this. She always said music had the power to heal, and now, even in her absence, she's still doing that." The Grand Ole Opry also honored her legacy with a special tribute show, where her close friends and fellow artists performed her most beloved songs. Her seat at the Opry remains symbolically empty, a silent reminder of the woman whose voice defined an era. For her family, the pain of losing her is still raw, but they take comfort in knowing that Jeannie's music continues to live on. Her laughter, her kindness, and her songs have become timeless, echoing through radios, memories, and hearts all around the world. "Jeannie didn't just sing about love," her husband said. "She lived it." In the months following Jeannie Seely's passing, Nashville has continued to mourn, yet also to celebrate the woman who helped shape its soul. The city that once echoed with her laughter and her voice now carries her memory like a melody that refuses to fade. Across Music Row, from the Grand Ole Opry to the smallest honky-tonk, artists young and old have been paying tribute to Jeannie, the Lady of the Opry, whose charm, honesty, and heart defined what country music truly meant. At the Opry House, a candlelit vigil was held one evening in her honor. The seats were filled with fans, friends, and musicians who had grown up admiring her. As photos of Jeannie through the decades played on the big screen, from her early days in the 1960s to her final Opry performance, the audience sat in silent reflection. Then a single spotlight shone on her empty microphone stand. The room fell still, and longtime Opry member Connie Smith stepped forward to sing "Don't Touch Me." Her voice cracked with emotion, and tears flowed freely among the crowd. It was a moment that felt like saying goodbye to more than just a singer, but to an era. Country artists who followed in Jeannie's footsteps have also spoken out about her influence. Reba McEntire called her a pioneer who made the Opry stage a home for every woman who came after her. Dolly Parton, who shared many performances with Seeley over the years, said in a heartfelt statement, "Jeannie was one of those rare souls who could make anyone feel special." Her songs came from a place of truth, and her heart was always open. Jeannie's contribution to country music wasn't just in her voice, it was in her spirit. She stood up for equality in a time when women in Nashville often had to fight to be heard. She demanded respect, not by raising her voice, but by staying true to herself. Her style, her wit, and her elegance made her a role model for generations of female artists who followed. In downtown Nashville, a mural now stands in her honor, a beautifully painted image of Jeannie holding her signature microphone, surrounded by musical notes and roses. Tourists stop daily to take photos, but for locals, it's a quiet reminder of the woman whose songs still echo through the city's streets. Her family attended the mural's unveiling, and her husband spoke to the crowd with emotion in his voice. "She would have been humbled by this," he said. Jeannie never saw herself as a legend, just a girl from Pennsylvania who got lucky doing what she loved. But for us, she was everything. Fans continue to visit her gravesite, leaving flowers, handwritten notes, and guitar picks, small tokens of gratitude for the memories she gave them. Some leave letters, thanking her for helping them through heartbreak, just as her lyrics once promised to do. Others come simply to stand in silence, knowing they're standing near a voice that once defined country music's golden years. Radio stations across the country have replayed her old interviews, where Jeannie's humor and charm shine through. In one, she was asked how she wanted to be remembered. She replied, "As someone who believed in the music and in people." I think that's enough, and it is. Because in Nashville, Jeannie Seeley's legacy isn't measured in awards or chart-topping hits. It's measured in love. Love for her craft, her audience, and the countless artists she inspired. Even now, the Opry keeps her spirit alive. At the end of every Saturday show, a soft spotlight still falls on her favorite corner of the stage. No words are spoken, just a quiet moment of respect for the woman whose presence, though gone, can still be felt. 3 months later, Nashville doesn't just remember Jeannie Seeley, it feels her in every song, every story, and every note that dares to dream as she once did. Even months after Jeannie Seeley's passing, her presence feels as vivid as ever, not just in the hearts of her family and friends, but across the entire country music world. Her songs continue to be played, her quotes are shared daily on social media, and her name still echoes through the halls of the Grand Ole Opry. But for her family, the mission now is clear: to ensure that Jeannie's story, her voice, and her message never fade with time. Her husband recently revealed that they're working on a documentary and tribute album, a heartfelt project that will celebrate Jeannie's life from her humble beginnings in Pennsylvania to her rise as one of Nashville's most respected voices. The album will feature contemporary artists performing her classic hits alongside rare recordings from her early sessions. She wanted the younger generation to feel what real country music sounded like, he said. "This is our way of keeping that wish alive." Her family has also shared plans for a Jeannie Seeley Foundation, which will support aspiring female songwriters and musicians, a cause that was deeply personal to her. Throughout her career, Jeannie championed equality and authenticity in the industry. She believed that every voice deserved to be heard, no matter where it came from. Jeannie was never afraid to speak up, her niece said. She believed that kindness could change the world, one song at a time. In addition to these tributes, fans have taken it upon themselves to honor her memory in unique ways. Social media pages dedicated to Jeannie are filled with personal stories, people recounting how her music helped them through divorce, illness, or loss. One fan wrote, "When I was at my lowest, Jeannie's voice reminded me that there's still beauty left in the world." Messages like these remind her family that her influence continues to reach far beyond the stage. The Opry, too, has not forgotten its lady of the house. Every year, the show plans to host an annual Seeley Night, an evening dedicated to celebrating the female trailblazers who shaped the Opry's history. Her close friend and fellow artist, Connie Smith, said, "It's exactly what Jeannie would have wanted. A night of laughter, stories, and real music. Even in her private life, Jeannie's legacy remains a source of strength for those she left behind." Her family often listens to her recordings at home, replaying old performances and interviews that still feel so alive. Her husband said there are days when he expects to hear her singing from the next room, and in a way, he still does. "That voice never left this house," he said with a tearful smile. "It lingers in every corner, every photograph, every quiet moment." Perhaps the most moving tribute of all came from the fans at her gravesite, where someone placed a small handwritten sign that read, "You may be gone, but the song never ends." That message has since become a mantra for her loved ones, a simple truth that captures who Jeannie Seely was and always will be. Her life was more than just a collection of hit songs. It was a story of courage, compassion, and authenticity, a reminder that success doesn't come from fame, but from touching hearts. She inspired countless women to chase their dreams fearlessly, and countless fans to keep believing in the power of love and music. As her husband beautifully said, Jeannie didn't want people to cry for her. She wanted them to sing for her. And that's exactly what's happening. Her music lives on through every voice that carries her songs, every heart that still beats to her melodies, and every soul that finds comfort in her words. 3 months after her passing, one thing has become clear. Jeannie Seely's story doesn't end here. Her voice, her wisdom, and her love will continue to guide generations to come, a timeless echo reminding the world that true legends never really leave us. They just keep singing somewhere beyond the stage lights.